How do you lead experts? Are you new to a role? Feel like your experts or your experienced people aren't on board with what you need to do? You get the feeling they don't respect you, or maybe they just don't like you. This is entirely possible. So how do you get them integrated with the rest of the team to achieve the things that the whole group needs to achieve? Particularly if that destination is different than where your experts want to go or how they've always done it. And really, just as important, how do you stop going home at night feeling bad about the job you're doing? Long stares and knowing that people are talking about you. In this video, we're going to solve that problem. And the beauty is, it's so simple, anybody can do it. Hi, I'm Mike Targus, retired Marine, founder of Center Desk Leadership Coaching. I did 21 years in the Corps. I retired as a battalion commander and have worked in project management, sales, and engineering ever since. I'm still living it. So I've seen it from both sides. What do we mean by experts? Experts are people who can make consistent, judgment-based decisions on complex problems because they have the knowledge and experience to be able to do this. So what if you don't? What if you're the leader of that group and you don't have that same detailed knowledge? Can you still lead them? In other words, how do you lead a group of experts if you don't know how to do what they know how to do? First thing in leading experts is to realize you're not there to do what they do. So don't try to. Get to know them and their job, yes. But you're there to lead, to make sure their efforts are put to good use. That's the first thing. And along with that, you absolutely cannot give experts the feeling that you know more about the details of their job than they do. They take pride in that. If something is blatantly wrong, unethical, that's a different story. You have to get involved. I'm talking about situations like walking into a lab and telling an experienced chemist how they could do their job a little better, or a journeyman millwright on a job and you're a project manager. They don't need you telling them better ways to align a shaft or to anchor heavy equipment. But we do things like this. We try to assure people that we know what we're talking about. Really what we're doing is we're trying to reassure ourselves. We feel the need to contribute, and that's the absolute wrong way to go about it. So what do you do? Defer all possible details to the experts. As many as possible. The more the better. And if you don't do that, you're likely insulting them without realizing it. And the other thing that can happen is they're going to let you get involved because you'll eventually get overwhelmed and won't know what to do. And they know that. So they may be inclined to let you take some of those details, slow everything down. And a good philosophy for leaders in the first place is if somebody else can do something, let them. Doesn't need to be an expert. Support, yes, but let them do their job. They know how to do it best. And remember, when leaders hang on to details, they start to lose respect. Much better to ensure your people have an obstacle-free path to success. Support them in getting that. That will be appreciated. You want to make sure things are done right. This is another trap to fall into. This is your anxiety. Somebody's been doing a job for 10, 20, 30 years, but you come in and you think you can do it better. You need to get heavy-handed with the details. That's your problem, not theirs. Experts need to feel valued. Well, we all do, actually. Contrast this with teaching novices how to do their job or showing novices how to get involved. That's actually a bigger part of your job, is to show them those opening phases of their career. You will be involved in some of those details, but with experts, not as much. How do you help people feel valuable? Deference, humble submission, show respect, stay focused on teamwork, and making sure their efforts are integrated with the rest of the group, not the details of what they're doing every day. Another way of saying this is stay focused on outcomes. And they're not perfect, but if something is done incorrectly, you should discuss it. And aside from the illegal, immoral, unethical, unsafe, almost any other situation is best dealt by staying out of people's way after you give them guidance, but stay out of their way during execution. Learn how to supervise? Yes. Check progress? They'll want to do that. But stay out of the way. Your main contribution in leading experts, number one, provide the big picture, the purpose of the work and how it all relates to each other. And number two, illustrate the constraints, what absolutely can't happen, what's off the table, and also what must happen. These are real leader contributions, all the way down to the frontline supervisor and manager, all the way up the chain. For example, you might have a subcontractor that needs 4 days to pour a foundation, concrete. Well, you only have 3 days to do the job. That's something they need to know so they can adjust their workforce. They don't need to know your opinion on the details of the rebar forms and that kind of thing. In that example, a shortened or tightened schedule is an example of the big picture. And you're illustrating the constraint of time. What's off the table? More time, that fourth day. You forget to tell them that, you really don't know what you're doing in their eyes. And the beauty of being good at illustrating the big picture for experts is they're actually going to help you find the best solution to the problem if you rely on them. If you're willing to cede control on some of the details, consult them, and keep them informed, you're going to find you got the biggest ally there with your experts instead of the biggest adversary, the biggest source of resistance. And it also helps when experts can put their head down and focus on the details of the job they're doing themselves. Engineers are like this. They rely on somebody else to construct the outside or the parameters of the work environment. What needs to be done, by when, and how much cost, what level of quality, what standards, what specifications, and let them work. Stay in contact with the customer on their behalf. And everybody understands that time is money. And so the more efficient people can do their job, the more money they're saving. May not be something that people are thinking about every day, but people do understand they're there to support the business. Those are a couple of ways that you help them do that. You may not be directly asked to do any of that, but believe me, the experts do expect that from you as the leader. Look at it this way. You're ensuring their work, their time is not wasted. And who can argue with that? So prove your worth by ensuring their good work goes to the best possible use. And throughout, you may get pushback. We need more time. We need different software. We need more resources. You have to take responsibility for the situation, be straightforward, tell them the truth. That is leadership development for you. Staying busy with the detailed oversight or the detailed participation of other people's work is not. Another way you can help your experts, other than just staying out of their hair, is by clarifying who should be doing what. Who's accountable? Who's responsible? I'd say just about every team that I've seen or been on has had some sort of issue with that. And what this results in is people cannot rely on other people for predictable inputs or support on what they're trying to do. And that's a real demotivator because people know right off the bat they're wasting time. So clarifying roles and responsibilities, that's a good role for you. And it's going to keep you out of the details of what your experts are working on because there's plenty of work to be done there. I always say time spent on clarifying roles and responsibilities is never wasted. You may think that everybody understands who's supposed to do what, but think again. Usually there's some sort of confusion on it and something is going to get missed. Always reiterate who's responsible for what. Don't worry about how basic it sounds. Just go ahead and repeat it. And if time ends up being wasted because people didn't understand who was doing what, see that as a reflection on you. Experts need you to own roles and responsibilities. What do you do if you just can't get buy-in, participation, and support from your experts? Of course, you can escalate the situation in hopes of getting some people to come in and try to figure out the situation, talk to them. But a lot of times, and you may have experienced this or experiencing it right now, is those senior people, those experts, maybe if they've been around for a long time, they may know the senior people on your team. So you can't always count on that support or that escalation, solving the problem for you. That can happen pretty easily. It's fairly common. In fact, you may have a situation where the experts on your team, they threaten to go to your boss because they know them so well, especially if you're the new leader. This is why it's important to anchor everything you do and the way you interact with these people with the real goals of the team that everybody knows, core values of the business. And what you do in support of that is you minimize your personal or individual preferences on how things should be done, or even what things should be done. You got to stick to what is the published plan for the group, or at least things that directly relate to those. What you're communicating as requirements should be like a mirror with the requirements of the organization reflected. Because experts need to, until they get to know you a little bit, they're going to need to see that your direction is a direct reflection of what the team needs to achieve, not what you want necessarily. For example, if you're looking for work to be done to a certain level of completeness or quality, or maybe there's some fine details in there, those have to be standards of the business or the team that you're on. Once you get to know people a little bit, it's easier to raise the bar, but when you're starting out, you for sure have to ask for the standard. It's the business's standard, the team standard, not yours. That's very important to remember. And that's useful when you're getting resistance to change or to things that you need to do. It might get a little better over time as you get to know each other, but it's a good general policy too, that there's one standard, the one for the business, the one for the team you're on. But the backbone of working with experts, the absolute most important thing is that one-on-one time getting to know each other. Not just you getting to know them, but them getting to know you. Travel is a great way to do this. If you're able to travel with these people, you're really going to accelerate getting to know each other. And during that one-on-one time, you got to realize that experts want to contribute. They want to show you what they know. And really, in just about all cases, they want to help you be the best you can be, because when you're like that, you're really going to be helping them as well. But you got to put in that one-on-one time. You got to put in the time overall. This takes not weeks and maybe not even months. This is really years of working together and getting to know each other. And while that might seem a little unrealistic to spend years getting to know each other, it really is what is required, especially with older, more senior people. And you can get to probably a workable level faster than that, but for the long haul, it's just going to get better with time. And if people see that you're willing to listen to them, you're giving them your time, your attention, they're going to reciprocate. You give something and they'll feel obligated to give back. And that may be doing the things that you're asking them to do. Maybe even in the way you're asking for it to be done. But let's just say none of that's working. The fallback is the things that you're asking for have got to be written down, standards of the business or the team you're in. And only then can you really count on getting some support in dealing with these people. And if you're able to show the discrepancy in what's going on, the standard of the team and their performance, things become a lot easier. But nobody above you is going to probably listen very long or serious to just you complaining about not being able to work with Bob or Sally. And that's particularly applicable if you're the new leader. People haven't learned to trust you yet. They don't know where you're coming. They don't know that they can rely on the things that you're telling them. That's the truth. You have to prove yourself. I'll end with this. I've worked with plenty of experts over the years. In the Marines, when you're a second lieutenant like I was, these are your senior sergeants. These are the guys that have been around for what seemed like forever then, but 5, 10 years, maybe a little longer. These are the guys that you have to rely on, which I did not know how to do initially. But what I found is not only when you listen to them, but stop trying to over-contribute and do their job because you think you're helping. And the other thing is keeping them informed and letting them do their work. And then when I got out of the Marine Corps, working with engineers that have been doing a similar job or the same job pretty much their whole career, got a chance to really plug in with these people and learn how to do my job through their experience. The benefit I had is I was a little older when that happened, so I didn't feel the need to prove really anything to these people. I just got out of the Marine Corps after 21 years. I felt pretty secure in what I had accomplished, really secure. So I got into this new job and all that was off me. And I think people could sense that. And then we were able to have a really good two-way dialogue with several of the more experienced experts in the company. And those are some of the best times, some of the best memories from those years. And then when you really build that bond and you build that relationship and you feel people actually coming to you for direction, those experts, that's probably the best feeling there is, because you really know at that point that you've accomplished something with these people. Because when you get right down to it, you're a lot like them. You want respect, and so do they. You want to feel valued, so do they. And the other thing with experts, let's just say we're talking about older people, maybe in the last home stretch of their career, there is a level of nervousness about them, most likely, that is a little bit worried about somebody coming in and taking their place before they're ready. So that could be some of the reason for the resistance or people being standoffish. So you really got to make an effort to bridge that gap with them. And you do it by listening, being sincere, and showing them you're there to support them as well as the team, not for your own self. If this hits home, let me know in the comments. Leading experts is not easy. It's probably the toughest part of leadership. For sure, it's the toughest part of being a new leader when you don't have any experience in doing that. You feel like you need to do too much. And in your effort to do so, you drive people away from you. And if you want to consider subscribing, the rest of my videos are just like this. Practical leadership, the kind of things that you don't always think of or talk about. And it's not based on the perfect situation where if I do this, I get that result. That's not what people are like. That's not what leadership is like. It's messy. You're going to experience setbacks. The way you're successful as a leader is by being consistent and you put others before yourself. Until next time, set a great example, enjoy working with people, and thanks for watching.